Okay, Kathy Lundeen and Sandy Hartnett, the Buzzkillers, are here with Joe Radwich, who's running for selectman on Sunday morning. We're having cake and coffee cake, and Joe agreed to come and do a little interview, tell him about himself, and answer a few questions. So we're gonna let Joe take it away.
Take it away. So, first a couple of things. The signs are up, a little history of the name. So I'm officially Norman Joseph Radwich Jr. So I grew up as Joe Radwich, which was better than growing up as Junior or Sonny or Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately on the voting rolls, it's Norman J. Radwich, so that's how it has to be on the ballot.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that all came about.
Okay.
And some people only know me as Joe the Woodcutter. Because in a small town, you know people by what truck they drive
Yeah.
Yep.
and what they may do or not do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I love about Pepperell. So my wife and I, we're from the Berkshires, Western Mass. I was born in a real small town of Washington, Mass, which had 300 people. Now it's got 500. Moved to the city of West Stockbridge in comparison. My wife is from South Lee. West Stockbridge is the last exit on the Mass Pike. Lee is exit 2 on the Mass Pike. We were an interesting little thing, kind of a corny thing. We were a blind date. So she's been the love of my life for over 50 years,
Oh,
right? So
that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
it doesn't happen everywhere. So I ended up down this end of the state. I went to Wentworth. I've got a degree in electronics, even though I cut trees now. Engineering school, so I don't have a great vocabulary because us technical people, we learn how to do things. So I moved to Pepperell in 1977. We had 2 children, and then we had a third one here. So we only have 1 child actually from Pepperell, because the other 2 don't count because they weren't born here, right? You guys can identify with that. So we moved to town, and it's just a great community. It's like 5,000 people. So a little background on me. People ask, well, what books do I get these funny interviews like? What book do you read? So I just.
Oh, that's not one of our questions.
It's not all.
You don't have to worry about that.
That's not a softball question, huh?
You tell us though.
But I listen to the Wall Street Journal in the morning, and then John Grisham, the Guardian was just a great book. The Reckoning, and we do some history stuff. Hamilton, Tocqueville was an interesting. All politics, are out. So, and then I'm a member of the National River Watershed. I donate to that. Norman Rockwell's museum, which is out where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's a great museum to go to. I ski instructor. I'm in a Lions Club for the last 10, 12 years. I'm the treasurer there. We've gone. So we moved to town. We got involved with the Boy Scouts, actually Cub Scouts, and then I was a leader there, I was a Weeble leader there, and then we kind of slid over to the Pepperell Business Association. So there, one of my projects was the clock downtown. And we had some great help. So we had all the businesses on Main Street, Jerry Bazika's at the spa, Chris Hayes and Don Hayes at Enchanted Florist, Nancy Regan at Tick's Boutique, Dick Egan was instrumental on this. So it was just a great project, and the clock stood the test of time, right? It's still there.
And the bandstand?
The bandstand was the PBA. I got in just after that finished, but I did I was involved in the benches. We cut 1 million of these little Bridgewood things up. We sold to raise the money for the benches. So all of our fundraising is, it's all been fundraising and family donations, and names are on the clock. We gather all our funds up, and then we started the project. So it's one of those things I do. So then after that, like I said, we got the Lions. I'm on the town forest committee.
Oh yeah, I love the town forest. Yeah.
We did
I want to put a couch there, so all us people who don't exercise can go to the town forest and just sit.
Just tell people I was at the town
That's
forest.
right, that's gonna be my donation.
Maybe we can do another fundraiser and get a nice bench for it, So, because once you
No,
put
but I do like the town forest.
put the first couch in there, people will see it as a dumping zone and dump stuff. And then most recently, I'm on the LAN committee, the Land Night Committee. And we're gonna touch on that a little farther down on this because of stuff on the Facebook.
That you want a buzzkill, that's good.
I want a
We'll do
buzzkill.
that.
Okay, you can help me? All right, you guys are wonderful. So then a question comes up, why are you doing this?
Yeah, that's always because.
And I have a lot of people who are, I don't say little townies, but people who know they're going, why do you want to torture yourself? Well, the quick answer is, all these years I've just always worked in town and I've just written a check. You know, so I have banners over at the ball field, I've sponsored teams, and you know, like all businesses, it's nothing special.
Yeah.
But it's easy for you to write a check. It's more difficult to be the coach. It's more difficult to be the groundskeeper. Those are the guys I appreciate.
Yeah.
I just go send a check, and you know, I get a little plaque with some pictures and a thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've done that a lot. So at this point, I'm it's time to give back. And
Sometimes I
get-
think the older you get, might have a little more free time. I don't know about you, but
Well,
free time.
no, you
what
don't,
it is
because
now.
you slow down, so it takes more time to do
No, that's
something.
true too.
Right?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
he's out taking care of his, when your husband's out taking care of the lawn, it's gonna take
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's, but you
That's-
do,
Yeah.
That's where the more time comes in.
yeah, that's,
okay.
it takes more
Yeah.
time to do everything. But to your point, I'm self-employed, so even though I work for a jerk, I can,
You work for yourself.
yeah, I know. That's- So I can make the time. You know, I can work my schedule around, so
Yes.
say if I'm fortunate enough to get in and there's something that has to be done in the morning, I can go
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Or
that's
I
true.
can leave the
Yeah.
day and I may be, I'll wear clothes and smell like a tree, but I
Oh,
can,
that's fine. No,
come in and take care of it. Because we've thought about that, and before I decided to do this, finally, I called some select people, past ones, to find out how much time's involved. Because I don't wanna take a job that I can't,
Yep.
do, right? It's just
Or
not,
do now.
it's not fair to the town.
No.
So it's just one of those things. So, a little note on my family, a lot of people in town would know my middle son, Craig RADWICH. He helped with the playground equipment, him and Kenny Morgan.
Okay.
They got it up and running.
Mhm.
Everybody knows him as Coach Craig, so he's watched us give, mom and dad give back, so he's given back as a coach. My youngest daughter, she's a nurse, very compassionate, and she's involved in a church up in Milford, New Hampshire. And my oldest son, who's actually officially Joe RADWICH, some confusion there at times, he's in Lowell and he does a mentoring program for young people in business.
Oh,
So
wow.
our kids have seen us do stuff. We
Yeah.
saw our parents.
Yep.
Right.
You know,
Kids do
Very
it.
good.
we grew up on a farm, right? So the farmers, we all helped each other hay,
Yep.
and, you loan tractors, and that's where we're coming from.
Very good. Nice family.
yeah.
I love nurses.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a tough career.
it is a tough,
Yeah. Well, they all are, but that's.
yeah. You
Okay.
gotta be probably don't get burnt out, right?
Yeah, that's,
You know, with your emotions and whatever.
Yeah.
So things I'm for keeping Pepperell affordable, especially with the seniors, which I'm there, right? So
yeah, we are too, yeah.
pretty soon the numbers, you're gonna be concerned, we have to spend money, but we have to do it prudently. right?
Yeah,
We need to watch out for overregulation. We shouldn't pass an ordinance for everything we don't like. How about walking across the street and talking to your neighbor?
Yeah.
That's old Pepper, is that crazy thinking?
no, common sense.
How about accountability, so we all know what's going on?
Yeah.
And that comes back to the Facebook thing. After watching that town meeting last night, I went, ooh, baby. Cause I was at
Town meeting.
I'm not
The selectmen's meeting.
selectmen's meeting.
Oh.
I was in
yeah,
another
yeah.
meeting, cause I've been to a few
Yeah.
of these.
Yeah.
Cause I've been going to these meetings to find out how our boards are treating people.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
if you wanna put an addition on, or you wanna do something, we should be helpful.
Yep.
And I wanna find out, how we might be able to help, or,
Yeah.
I
Some
don't
of, the ZBA and the planning board and stuff, I've bought the Board of Health, I always find them to be fair.
yeah, so
To
that's,
the-
that's,
to the
I wanted to see it
public.
firsthand.
They're not, no, I think they're very fair, they always seem to put the, citizens first.
Yeah.
You know, the ones I've seen, I'm like, yeah,
So that's why,
Yep.
that's the same reason, that's what I've gone around, so then I've also gone around and talked to the highway guy. I was up at the transfer station talking to the people who work there. I'm an easy guy to talk to,
Yeah.
right? So you can come to me at any level and deal with it. Then our big issues are the school budget, so I gotta call into
Yeah,
the
there
state
is the
budget,
school
into the, our rep. At one point, the state mandates these regional schools that we have, right? And then they're gonna help us with transportation, and now they've gotten tired of it.
Yep.
And the attitude in Boston is, outside of 495, they'll just have an override,
And they can pay it themselves.
they can pay for themselves.
Yep.
So we need to get that, so and this thought was given to me by somebody else. Maybe we should get together with the other regional schools as a group and go to Boston, right? Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
caravan
Make
down
noise,
and
yeah,
yeah.
they need
make some
some
noise.
noise,
Uh,
Get on TV.
And,
Yeah.
and what I'm trying to do is surround myself with people, the older you get, the less you know, right?
Yeah.
So,
That is true. Mhm.
Quentin, he's our
yeah,
finance,
he's on the finance
Great,
committee,
great
doing
guy.
his quarterly,
he,
meetings.
he helped encourage me to do this, right?
Nice, yeah.
So he's a guy I can reach out to get information,
Mhm.
because there again, you don't know.
Quentin has a handle on the budget and the
Quentin has some
school.
good numbers,
Yeah,
yes.
he knows
Yeah.
his stuff,
Yeah.
yeah,
So he's a
Yeah.
great guy, he's, active, in the committee.
yeah.
He loves the VFW for the meat bingo, I don't know if you ladies ever been.
I've never been there, but I
You-
heard it's
I've
good.
been to the VFW, I
Yeah.
love the VFW,
But
but
the
I've
meat,
been.
the meat bingo, oh, it's
Yeah.
and you could walk
Yeah, we
from
can,
here.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
you should walk from here,
Yeah.
but it's a great, but he promotes it there at the finance room. He goes, I can't meet on first Friday of the month because I got meat bingo, right?
yeah.
And, that's what that makes that, and the VFW does so much for the town.
Yeah,
Oh,
it does.
God, they
Yeah.
do, yeah.
Really
The
does.
Lions
Great
Club,
organization.
the Lions Club, which I'm a member, we meet there for free, the Boy Scout meet for free. If you fortunately have a funeral, they'll give you the upstairs room for free.
Yeah.
So they do,
They do.
they do
They
an
do
awfully
a lot.
lot for
They
the,
do a lot,
just the way it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, questions at this point? Specific questions?
so
Thoughts?
actually I do, when you were talking about fundraising, and actually the walking track has got people
Cool.
thinking this way.
Yep.
So an organization wants to get some land from the town, and they put anything there, say,
Yep.
we'll just do the walking track, cause that seems to be the thing. And the town does some stuff for 'em. Now, should that organization be totally responsible for everything? They find their own contractor, they get the thing installed, they maintain it, and we've given them the land, or should there be
Well,
more
it
guidelines?
stays the town land, right, Mike? You always say this. It stays the town land
Well, I'm saying, but we've given them a piece of that land,
to
Sure,
use.
to use,
Right.
to use.
But it
So-
still is the town land,
right?
right?
But should there be guidelines, because one group could end up paying for stuff, another group could end up using town things for no charge?
Mhm.
It just seems like it's getting to the point where there has to be guidelines to follow. Sure, you can have this piece of land, but you're totally responsible, or sure, you can have this piece of land, and in return, the town will do everything. We'll help install it for you, we'll maintain it, and you've given us this gift. But I think maybe it needs to be spelled out more, or
Well,
some type of process.
I totally agree, so, and this is after the fact, so the clock was put in 2005. We went to the town, they gave us the little spot of land because it was right of ways and a railroad track, so we spent hours down there trying to figure out where to put the clock, and then the town came out and they go, okay, you can put the clock anywhere you want on this little table here, and go, well, that was. But we had permission from the town engineer was there, we had all of our financing in order, and we did it, Carl Shattuck dug the hole, Dick Egan, Richard, he was in there,
Those
John
were your
Deacon.
own people.
They were all our
Not
own
town
people,
people.
not town people,
Yeah.
we raised, I don't know, it's around $18,000.
Yeah. So something like that would have to be like a guideline, so the next group that comes along would know, you have to get your own people.
So I don't have the whole history, and I sort of agree with you, it seems like if you have a big enough committee, then you can go do what you want. I don't know if that's how it's happening. The concern after watching the town guy, our TA, I'm going, well, they're gonna pay back the hourly rate. So what I don't know, maybe you guys know, does the town budget pay for the highway guys or any employees' benefits in all those packages? And does the highway budget only pay the $25 an hour, the $22 an
Right.
hour? Or, because I was self-employed, at one point I had help, I pay you $25 an hour, but it really cost me close to 50.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
because when I had help at one, and this is when insurance was cheap, the bottom line, it cost me $5 an hour to give you insurance,
yeah.
right? So the $25 an hour, I don't know how all that's working out. I don't know the ins and outs, and I have the same question.
Well, it seems like maybe this was supposed to happen to address all these
Yeah.
questions for the future, cause it does seem like there's been a lot of questions, especially when a town is old on equipment and
Old on
short on manpower.
Exactly.
And if you're working for nothing at one point, that's a lot to expect from any organization from a town.
Yeah.
So maybe there just has to be more
Yeah, so I don't know
guidelines.
what the guidelines are, but I have.
It was a long question.
Well, no, similar, good question, similar, and this is there again, this is the Facebook and, so I'm gonna go to the meeting Monday night.
Oh, the rec meeting.
Yeah, so I don't
Yeah,
know
see if they
who's
send
there,
I don't know.
so,
We're working.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
Yeah,
to watch it on tape.
okay. Well, well, at least you can talk to the people in your own home
Yeah.
and not have to be heard.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's true.
Give them, good talk, so yeah, I'm gonna go, cause I have those questions.
Yeah. And it's not the Friends of the
Yep,
Pepperell
not at
that
all.
anything,
No.
It's just a general
No, no,
organization type thing.
Cause what could happen
question.
next, so
Yeah.
if I get enough people as a committee, can I go put a hot dog stand out there?
Yeah,
You know,
Right, right, right. So in a way, I
On the
think
town
it's-
field and
it's
big
good that it
season,
probably
yeah.
happened.
so, I'm in your court on those thoughts.
Yeah.
but it is a good idea for public-private projects.
Yeah,
I think it
oh,
is,
no,
you know,
no,
that benefit the town, I think that's a
they
good
do,
idea.
but I would say, I'm not sure when we have a light-staffed,
We don't know
town-
if they're being called off.
yeah, I mean, come fall, the town has a lot of things to do to get ready for winter. So, it just, could have time been better, we all had projects, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
your husband's out doing the lawn today.
Yep.
So you have to, take your limited time and resources to use them prudently. And that's kind of after being self-employed, and you look at equipment cost, house cost, trucks, all that stuff.
Yeah. Maybe the solution is as simple as this, you can have that piece of land and you get it up and we'll maintain it.
Sure.
Maybe that's the trade-off, and it's as simple as that, but there has to be some guideline that
Right.
every
Yeah.
organization knows what they're gonna get and what they need to
Sure.
do.
So back to the clock, we were marginally landscaped around when we finished, and my wife was down, another guy used to go down and weed it. And then the garden club took it over and did a tremendous job.
Yeah,
It
they
looks
do.
great.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep,
I-
that is
I
good.
hate to say it's my clock, but as I drive
Yeah,
Well,
by,
you gotta use it, it
I've got
is, it is your
a
clock.
vested interest, and
Right,
I like my clock.
yeah.
The problem we're gonna have now is we gotta teach the young kids how to read a clock.
I read a clock, yeah, it's
You know what I
not
mean?
digital,
Because
they're not a
that's-
digital clock.
They just see it as
Someone in the future will be taking it down and putting up some.
digital
yeah,
clock.
modern
Yeah,
digital
they'd be
clock.
like,
Yeah,
"What is that
we'll
thing?"
pop the thing out and put digital in it. Along with the clocks, people who were there's a time capsule in there. It's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah, I
open
did
in,
hear
it's gonna be
that.
open
Yeah.
in 50 years.
Mm.
So because I was involved, I had a little inside connection here, my grandchildren, who were pretty young at that point, wrote letters to themselves.
Oh, nice.
Just,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
and I'm gonna
good.
tell them in the will that the rest of their money's at the clock. So make sure you're there when they open it, just so we have an audience.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of neat, there's the newspaper, there's the spas,
Yes, yeah.
breakfast
Good
menu, maybe a phone bill, some,
Yeah, that's good, those
so-
are-
So
that's-
that'd be 2055, right?
yeah. And the reason we did 50 years is because the bandstand, which was 10 years before the clock, that's gonna have, there's one in there that's gonna be open in 100.
Okay.
So we didn't wanna have two of them open in 10 years apart.
Right.
How much difference,
Right.
Yeah.
could there be,
Yeah.
realistically,
Right.
so,
Right.
Do you have any questions?
at this
Not
point.
yet, did you wanna read any more or
No,
are you
she's
done?
reading over my notes
Oh.
then, jumping in with
No, I
questions.
can't see them, so.
You can't read them, so,
Just a blur.
so now why I wanna run, where we're coming from, the family, school, blah, blah, blah.
I
So
do
much
have
blah,
another
blah.
question.
Okay,
So another hot topic has been recusal. Now, if any group, whatever, came before the board, would you have any problem recusing yourself?
Oh,
Or do
no.
you have a problem?
Conflict of
No.
interest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no
Yeah, not at all.
conflict of interest.
no, I'm
Okay. That
pretty,
just seems to be like a.
I'm pretty transparent.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
What you're looking at is what you
okay.
see,
well, the
right?
former selectman was fined $6,000 for. ethics
Well, yeah.
violation.
Yeah, it turns out,
Well,
that
there
was,
can be pressure
Yeah.
from those groups or people when you're in that position.
Mhm.
And you just have to know when to recuse, so I'm just
Sure.
asking.
no, not a
That
problem.
wouldn't be a,
No,
And you
not-
should, yeah.
You should,
Yeah.
you should know when you should step back. right?
Good,
So-
definitely. Good.
And as far as being a couple things in town, a lot of times people who don't know you'll be going, oh, you're self-employed and you're running so you can make more money in town.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I'm busy as all out,
Mhm.
and I deal primarily with builders, and a lot of my work is out of town. So I'm not
Yeah, cause,
doing
For
this
yourself.
for
Yeah.
a
right,
business edge.
right,
No.
well, because,
I'm just bringing it I bring the business up because
Well,
people don't understand that it's just $20 an hour you're paying. It's $35 an hour.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And the other thing with the schools, you'll hear, well, he won't care about the school because his kids are out.
Yeah,
I care more about the schools now as you. I have grandchildren.
yeah,
Right.
that is.
My kids have made it,
Yeah.
and I can die, and they will have made it.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure,
It is for the
Everyone.
grandkids.
it is for the
Exactly.
grandchildren,
Yeah,
right?
then
I mean,
everyone
that's,
can make it, yeah.
you know, so I don't,
Yeah.
I want to get that out there.
No, I've mentioned the schools a few times, and, it's cause of my grandkids.
Sure. And that's why I've got to call into our state rep Friday and about the transportation and how does that all work? That's what I don't know. So that's where I need to reach out to Quentin,
Mhm.
reach out to somebody who knows something.
Well, that's good,
You
you
know,
know who to reach out to.
Because I
Yeah, because
contact
the
people,
state said it would pay so much of the transportation,
Yeah.
and it doesn't.
and it doesn't
No,
anymore.
and
So
then that's a lot on the towns.
it is, and that's killing our budget.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
it is.
There's
on
a
that-
lot of state rules that kill.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Town
mandate
budgets.
and then they
They
won't pay
mandate
for
and
it.
they don't finance it.
Yeah, they
Absolutely.
expect us to.
Well, because we can have the override, but
Right, just
Pepperell's a little
override.
resistant to overrides,
Yeah,
as a lot of
definitely.
people found out, right?
Yeah, well,
Within your means.
people should be, yeah.
So on Facebook, all these sites, which I don't do a lot, I'm in the same court as the town administrator and Bill Greathead. If you want me on my website, my phone number's there, you can call me.
Okay, all right,
That's,
good.
that's why when we started, you
Uh-huh,
reached out on the computer, that's why I gave you my phone number.
Yep.
And one more text, I would've been calling you.
that's fine, Colin's good, I have a hard time texting anyways, usually the
Well, yeah,
words
but
don't always.
It didn't seem that way the other day.
Yeah.
So, well, that's where the phone, the
I
new
might have
phone
been
works
at
out well
work
for me.
texting,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, so then,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. So the stuff gets out on Facebook, and the analogy I give with it is, it's like having my home phone. Somebody calls with a question. It rings and rings and rings. I don't answer it because I'm not home.
Mhm.
Then the person answers the question themselves.
Yeah,
Specific one online is, where's your stand on the toxic dirt?
mhm.
Oh, that was one of my questions,
Yes,
go
go
for it.
Anybody in town everybody does not want toxic dirt. And
Of
that's,
course not.
I hate to do and this is for the older football fans, Bill Parcells, he'd do these interviews, and somebody would ask a question, he would go, that's a dumbass question, right? I mean, who wants toxic for your grandchildren?
Right.
So
Right,
my
again,
children are
yeah.
here, chances are my starter home is gonna be my dying home, so one of my children or one of my grandchildren would get that, so why would anybody in their right mind think that was a good thing? But if you don't respond out here, it gets picked up and run with,
Mhm.
and then
Yeah,
they go.
For it.
So then the other issue is, so if you, and I just reached out, and I don't know who's watching this, but I'll be remiss.
Everybody will be watching.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, that's what I'm hoping for, ladies.
Yeah, all right.
I don't have a toxic dirt sign, so I guess to show my support,
Mm.
I'm gonna buy one. I don't know how we get them, shame on me for not knowing
No, I
that.
don't know either.
Kathy Batchelor has them.
So I would like to
Yeah,
I would like to get
yeah.
some signs for my property, so there's only a small percentage of people with signs, so
Mhm.
does that mean everybody else in town is for the dirt?
It's for the dirt, no.
No, it doesn't.
No,
I'm not-
right.
I'm
I
not for
actually
the
don't
dirt, but
have
I'm,
a sign.
You-
yeah,
and,
I'm not even,
I-
but I'm not for advertising that we could possibly
We may
have
wanna
toxic
sell.
dirt in town.
Well,
That's-
no,
So I'm
and
not
that's-
for
that is-
That's
advertising
where
that.
we're coming from.
Oh, I
That's
agree,
my point.
and
Why
I agree
advertise?
with that, because
Yeah.
people go, so I,
There's a lot of homes for sale in town.
yeah, so
People
I,
look
you know,
at
I
that.
cut house lots in other towns, and then could talk to the
Mm.
builders, or people
Yeah.
come by, and I go, what's up with the dirt, Joe? I go, well, it's a long story.
Yeah,
And along the dirts thing, I think we're rolling the dice. Everybody, what's your stands? Where are you? If I was, and you're never in charge of anything, but it seems like we should have had a parallel negotiation going along with the state. And we're trying to stop it.
Yeah.
We should stop it. Hopefully we can stop it. But as we all know, it's a land court.
Mm,
And if you've ever been in court as a witness or juror, it's not that simple.
no.
So I would have been for a, excuse me, parallel negotiation going, we only want 6 trucks, we wanna test every 3rd truck. As soon as something shows up, it gets shut down, so we don't have a backup plan.
So when
No.
you talk about the state, the thing that I see that fell through was there was no communication at the time with the state when that law was going through. So
Right.
Pepperell was caught
Sure.
We're
with nothing.
blindsided.
We were blindsided, we have no regulations at all. So I guess the question there is, how do you talk to the state? What's, you know,
How
when
do
you
you
get
keep up
there,
to
you're
date
gonna
with what's
stay
coming
up
out
to
of the
date
state
with the
house?
state, cause that seems to be maybe a little missing.
There is a missing link there, so
Yeah.
the state comes out and goes, well, your permit says you gotta fill the quarry, so the state's running around, I agree, so there's another mandated thing by the state that we
Yeah.
have little to no control over,
Yeah.
I don't have that, good question.
I know when we did, Roland Nutter, he's like, well, it's a state, like reg, it's there, it's like, yeah, but there has to be some communication, so towns don't get taken by surprise.
Sure, yeah,
Cause who would've thought
and taking
we
advantage of
had
it,
to worry about some quarry,
Yeah, right.
absolutely,
and then all of a sudden, here we are with this
But
big
we're not told
project.
because
well, yeah, we
the
weren't,
state
so,
legislators were
So-
for it.
so I don't know where the misconnection was with, and I'm not sure who was selectman, and I think the town manager was,
I wonder if there's a liaison
the
between
town?
the town and say Sheila Harrington and Ed
Yeah,
Kennedy.
yeah.
Like
To see
some,
what's-
and
what's
that's
coming-
the only
what's
job they
coming
have,
down.
to correspond with them or stay up on things.
See what
Well,
will be
when I-
affecting the towns.
if I get a
Yeah.
call back, I would expect from Monday
Yeah.
from Sheila, I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Or ask the
Yeah.
aide.
Yeah.
I mean, cause that's where I would go, so right now, you and I are hoping for the luck of the draw for our grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
really.
We're rolling the dice and hope it comes up red, that's where we're betting on. So, in my business, I cut trees and sometimes they're dangerous, so when you get a dangerous situation, you better have a backup plan, in case
Right,
things don't
yeah.
go
Mhm.
as planned. So
Of
we need a
course.
backup plan.
And the other side to 161 is actually property rights.
Yeah.
The individual's property rights.
It is.
Right.
It's another
do
whole
what he wants.
discussion, which
Is-
sometimes I feel bad for Dave Burton, I wish he would speak up,
Mhm.
because I think he's a missing voice here.
Well, yeah, but I think what happened, this is the reason I don't answer on the Facebook page, is because you could just get vilified.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to listen to him, they all wanna yell at him, so
Yeah,
maybe
right.
if he was to,
Yeah, if he spoke up, I find it hard to believe he wants to import
Yeah,
tons
yeah.
of toxic soil into a town he's lived in all his life.
and he's a generous
And
guy
he's,
too,
he's a philanthropist, he's
Yeah,
donated,
he
why
takes
would he
care
do
of a lot
that?
of people
Why would he do
on
that?
the side that you don't know about,
No, right,
Right?
I
and
know.
he takes care of town trucks and he does a lot.
he does a lot, so he's, yeah, so
So I
I
don't know, I
don't,
find
so I
it
don't
hard to-
have,
Yeah, I just.
I wasn't on here,
I don't know.
and I guess that's a poor excuse,
I'm giving him
should you know
benefit.
everything?
No, this is
No,
a
of course not.
excuse.
You know,
No,
but
I
those are
just-
thoughts, and
It doesn't seem like anyone in the town is talking to him.
Monday morning quarterback is pretty easy to do.
Hindsight's 20/20,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, I'd be rich,
Me too, yeah,
Yeah.
be picking the right lottery numbers, right?
Yeah.
So,
He is a missing voice.
Yeah, cause I just,
Yeah,
but what happens is, sometimes you get, and I deal with subdivisions and other things.
Mhm.
You hire the lawyers and the people just, I don't want
Yes,
to
that's
be,
what happens.
to be your voice, right?
Right.
Cause once you get out there and you start getting grilled and they're making you look, hey, it's nerve wracking. I'm a little, I've gotten better now, but when I started, you guys were intimidating the ladies here. You got that,
Oh,
you got-
no,
you've
we're
got
just,
that power.
we're just nanas.
Yeah, sure you are. You women can be tough, right, guys?
Leave us out of it.
Oh, yeah. You're on your own, Joe.
No.
So that you get out in that, that grilling thing, and
You put yourself in a grilling position though.
I have.
mean,
Yeah.
you watched that selectmen's meeting, and I think maybe when they looked back, they did see, that is the position they're in. So citizens are gonna
sure.
comment,
And you should.
criticize,
Right,
question, ask, and
gossip,
sometimes
hearsay, it's all,
Sure,
all
yeah,
in
yeah.
there, yeah.
sometimes it's not nice, but
Yeah.
I give you credit for
Yeah.
It was way better at the spa when you went and
Yeah.
had coffee,
Yeah,
and you
Right, face to
Yeah.
face and.
well, you'd ride mine, you go, hey,
Yeah.
Mike's there with us, I know that truck, and then you get to go see Mike, right? So that's,
and just talking, something
Hash it
happens
out.
and you talk, yeah,
Yeah.
you just hash it out, that's how you move forward.
so, I mean, I've worked on landfills, when I had help, I worked with a company that we were out capping landfills, the first one I did was Pepperell, I go, this is great, it's close to home. You know, every town only has one landfill. So pretty soon I'm out in Orange and Rockport and, you know, but, so I see firsthand the leachates and the issues. And when they talk about pollution and that kind of stuff, if you ride down the dump road, you ought to ask yourself what that chain link fence is all
Yeah,
about
I know.
out there.
Yeah.
And that's from the old dump, primarily, I guess, I don't know that fact, and that is close to our well. So, those are issues, right?
They are issues,
Yeah.
cause I'll probably be gone when they finally figure out that if the soil gets dumped, it is toxic.
Yep.
That's kind of what I worry about.
Sure, yeah.
Like now my kids,
Your
my
grandchildren.
grandkids
Sure,
are
I'm
sick
living here.
because we let it happen.
we have a whooping, we have a high
Yeah.
cluster of
Yeah.
some kind of
So-
cancer from
Mhm.
something.
So,
So I'm against the dirt, so that's, you know, I forgot, there's a couple people, you know, on the Facebook thing, it's capital letters.
Or against toxic dirt.
And so now, or where's your stand? So people take that and run with it, or they hear something, there was a little buzz with some secondhand thing, some of our
well,
people
that's
were
good.
told.
You're against it, good.
But my,
Yeah.
you'd have to be an idiot.
Right.
I guess if I owned a trucking company, you might say he's for it because he owns trucks.
Yeah.
Uh,
So do you think the noise bylaw will stop it?
No,
Okay.
not at all, not even close.
No.
Oh, you wanna touch on them? Oh,
Yeah, go
that-
ahead.
That was
Yeah.
another, that
Yeah.
was another thing
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, I got invited onto the committee, and I appreciate the fact that I have a different thought process, different viewpoint, so I got invited on. So there were essentially, and
Oh
that
yeah,
was
this
me,
is your buzzkill, yeah.
buzzkill thing.
Yeah.
So there was myself, and then a lot of other people who don't do what I do, I don't make noise. So, as it was stated, we don't have a noise issue in town. Okay, so, but the big fear factor was, we have to do this because this could happen. We have to do this because we have to be able to stop that. The whole noise thing started with the pipeline, the citizens petition, it kind of died down. And then it got re-geared up for the dirt. They were hoping they could do, and I agree, we need to stop it, and I guess you're reaching at straws. So I get on this committee, and, you know, you go to the meetings, and when they started, everybody, I don't know how to do it, but they all post and cut from other towns. And I like Pepperell, so I don't
They
care
did
what,
post and cut from Uxbridge.
all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place. So one of them was, when we started, quite honestly, when we started, my hope was with 13 people, nothing would get done, because we don't have a problem. So we pared it down, it was, I don't know, 25 pages of things for noise, for a problem we don't have at this point. So I'm always concerned about the unintended consequences, the collateral damage, having a law that gives a neighbor a tool to beat his neighbor, right? So I'm in favor, and the little Facebook thing that was out there that somebody cut and posted,
That was me.
and well, yeah, you got a screenshot from somebody who
I
stuck
did.
something out. So let's address part of the screenshot. This was not a surprise with the committee. I had got a text at the beginning of October asking if I would sign my name to the newspaper article. I said no. Right, so that's not like it's not 2 days before, I'm
No.
saying no. The reason being, I said no for a couple reasons. They started meeting on Tuesdays, so for 10 Tuesdays in the fall, I can't be there. With 13, 12 people, you can't accommodate everybody. So we never had a meeting that wasn't on a Tuesday. So then it seemed like, so I got a, you know, those chain emails you get, so I'm on the committee, so somebody
Yeah.
writes something and
Yep.
you get listed.
Yeah.
So one person wrote on the thing, it goes, he seems to be lukewarm supporter at the meetings. My last meeting was in August. At that point, Lisa Farrelletto hadn't quit, and then the rest of that was, this is a political move to separate himself. I wasn't running for selectman.
No.
There was no need to run for selectman, so that is the mindset. And then the other comment was, I went to the Pepperell Business Association. Well, I didn't realize that I couldn't go to a meeting if I didn't agree. So going to the meeting implied that I'm on board. I went to the meeting, I'd already spoken to the PBA. The PBA already knew, you know, my concerns. Because you don't need to use this tool. Could we use something for the industrial area and the commercial area? I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But to have something, so you were cutting a tree up yesterday, giving somebody a potential tool.
Yeah, so I might come from the other side,
Sure.
cause My neighbors call all the time on us. Anyways, regardless of any law. Oh yeah, you light up 2 fireworks for the 4th of July, which were beautiful. The police are here.
Yeah.
My dog's back, the police are here.
Yeah.
So the way I looked at it was, regardless of the law, they're gonna call the police anyway.
Well, they are, that's right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
But so
to
now they
me,
get,
the problem's the neighbors,
so, well,
not the law. And I'm just talking from experience.
but now they can get involved with a lawyer because something's written down. So before it was the police would come out and they go, hey, you almost done
Well,
with the fireworks?
supposedly that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Shut it
It's
off.
that
I'll give you 10 more
really
minutes.
low.
Yeah, 10 more minutes, it's Pepperell, right?
Right.
It is.
So when we started this whole thing, and that's what I said, I go, look, this is Pepperell. I mean, they kept bringing up things of like, okay, well, down in Newton, there was a horn blowing thing, you know, there was a car alarm thing. Most of the time, the horn blowing is somebody's beeping, I'm gonna wave to you, right?
Yeah. In this town.
So, but that law was written comprehensively like that broadly, because that was a suggestion of town council.
Well,
So,
it is, but
the problem might have been solved if it was a more specific bill, but for some reason, town council thinks doing a broader,
well, they wanna do a broad
thing.
gray area, so there's the loophole, he's the lawyer, so there's a
Yeah.
loophole for either side of the law thing.
Mhm.
So as soon as you write a law down, somebody figures out how to get around it.
Around it, yeah.
I did it in Littleton, the zoning board, you needed so many square feet of property to build and so much frontage. So at one point, this guy had a lot of land, so crap land, except where you're gonna build a house, so they made these little tails, they were 2 feet wide, thousands of feet deep. Then he met the law said you need X amount of square footage. So his engineers go, hey, you can do this, so then Littleton, now they changed the law going, okay, you need 40,000, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
But you can only have so much perimeter.
Yeah.
So that eliminates that.
Yeah.
So now there's another engineer sitting there going, they didn't say that.
Mhm.
So that's the trouble with the noise thing, or any law.
Yeah.
So it was not a surprise.
and why does the lawyer say that it can stop 161? That's been said over and
Yeah.
over and
It
over
can't, and
again.
that was one of the issues when they brought
And
up,
over again.
they brought up, truck noise, traffic. The trucks are all inspected DOT, some of them are louder than others, so you can't specifically stop a truck. You know, if he's
So that
gross,
was a lie?
well, I don't know if it's a lie, but
Not a lie.
it's certainly not, you can't
I
spot zone,
generally take people at what they
what they say,
say.
sure.
Yeah.
So, it's not gonna stop that,
Mhm.
because they're not in violation, realistically.
They're not in violation of the DEP levels of
the
noise,
DO
but they are of the Pepperell levels. Is that how it would work?
No, because unfortunately, the truck driving by is a intermittent noise, and it happens, every so often, so it's not like a factory or a foundry, you know,
Where
beating
something's
something
running
out all the time,
continuously.
so that's a
Yeah.
continuous song, it's not like your fireworks.
I don't
'cause
know, 7 to 10 trucks every hour, that's a continuous noise.
Continue-
Sorry, if
what is
I
the
lived in
length
a neighborhood and there's 7 to 10 trucks going by
every hour?
every day, all the time, that's a continuous noise.
Continuous.
And I would expect that bylaw,
To do that,
Hold up.
well, I'm
and I'm
gonna,
gonna wait and see.
I'm gonna think
But
it's
that-
Well,
not,
we're gonna see if the lawyers have abandoned Dave Burton after this gets into effect in Pepperell, we'll know it will work, right?
sure. But
Won't that be the answer? If the
I
lawyers
guess
are
would be,
gone?
but if the lawyers disappear, probably, so how many trucks go down Brookline Street every day hauling dirt out of Brookline?
Mm.
These trucks are quite a bit bigger with covers and